My name is Guanxi. I'm a China business coach, trainer, and advisor, but more importantly, I'm an ABC. That's American-born Chinese.
And being immersed in that environment was really kind of, it was almost like a turning point and a cultural shock, all at the same time.
At the intersection between America and China, I'm concerned about the lack of cultural awareness on both sides. So I started having conversations with my unborn son. I want to try to explain our world in context in order for him to make better sense of his world. And I want him to develop a healthier attitude, mindset, and approach towards anyone from a different culture.
The business culture was almost like being with your fraternity brothers.
Welcome to Season 2 of Generational ABC Podcast, another series of conversations between me and my unborn son, one ABC to another.
The turning point was when I started doing business in Taiwan and how much I learned about the importance of personal, and we call it now Guanxi relationships, when you're doing business in China. Hey, little buddy. This is the first view of the home that you're going to be born in. We're moving in tomorrow, and today I came because we hired cleaners to come clean our new home. Again, I wanted to stay consistent and try to send a message to you every single day. So I think the theme of what I've been talking about recently is kind of turning points, and obviously moving into a new home in a new city or a new country obviously always is a turning point. I've moved a lot in my life. I moved to Canada in 1994, Taiwan in 1996. Well, this was all business. I guess I first moved to Taiwan in 1977. But I guess the next turning point probably is, as it relates to kind of what I'm doing now, is probably when I was assigned to be the country manager in Taiwan. And I think I spoke about this in a previous episode, where going to Taiwan and speaking Chinese for business and being immersed in that environment was really kind of, it was almost like a turning point and a cultural shock, all at the same time. But it was very manageable, and it was very pleasant, I would say, because I really enjoyed my job and the things that I was involved with when I was traveling to, living, and working in Taiwan. The business culture was almost like being with your fraternity brothers. Now, I wasn't ever in a fraternity, but I can only imagine that what that was kind of like, because I was there representing a U.S. manufacturer, and I had distributors or channel partners in Taiwan. I had one in Taipei, one in Taichung, and I think also one in Kaohsiung. So I spent my time almost exclusively either with my distributors, who became my friends, or with other friends that I had in Taiwan. Obviously, we did some work. We had to visit customers, but it was just almost like a different time, because everything was more kind of manual. We really, back then, the relationships, especially in Asia, whether it was with the customer or with your distributor, it was really just the cornerstone of what you were doing. And um, the having a business relationship and having a personal relationship blended together almost 100%. In fact, I don't even really keep in touch or have any connections with friends that I had in high school, nor do I even still keep in touch with any of my friends from both my undergraduate university and even my master's degree. Now, there's some people that I may keep in touch with via LinkedIn or Facebook, uh, but there's nobody that I would ever expect that we would have a reunion or we would actually see each other again. But the distributors that I had in Taiwan in 1996 became essentially friends for my whole life. Uh, and throughout the 20 years since then, we've seen each other frequently. Obviously, every time I went back to Taiwan, but one of them was assigned to work in Shanghai while I was in Shanghai, and this was, 2, 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, 2, 3 years ago, and we would get together, have lunch, have dinner, reminisce over old times quite frequently. So you can see that this kind of distributor relationship became really a friendship. And even with one of the distributors that I have in Taichung, we were actually born on the same day and same year. His name is Ken. We communicate quite often. Now it's by Facebook. He used to call me quite often. And we always talk about, he always is asking me when am I coming back to Taiwan. And I'm always inviting him to come visit me in the U.S. And he's been talking about visiting the U.S. essentially for 20 years. So, and we almost made it happen this year for Chinese New Year's. And then I think it was my fault because I wasn't proactive enough and really kind of inviting him over. It was more, you're welcome to come and I would love to see you. But it was more like, I don't know. I think I should probably reach out to him and formally invite him to our new home and have that kind of reunion. Because as you get older, one of the things that you will really value is friendships and personal relationships. Because in the end, that's really one of the things that is enduring. So yeah, the turning point was when I started doing business in Taiwan and how much I learned about the importance of personal, and we call it now Guanxi relationships, when you're doing business in China or even when you're doing business in Asia, and how the line really blurs between personal relationships and business relationships. And I think the lessons that I learned during that period of time, and especially how Taiwanese do treat relationships in their business, that's really kind of the foundation of that started the foundation of how I view relationships in business. And it's been quite, I would say, when I look back in hindsight, it's been really, it served me well. Not necessarily because of being financially successful and closing huge deals when I'm conducting business, but just the nature of the relationships, the degree of trust, the degree of collaboration, that all kind of was learned through my experience in Taiwan. This is not something that you learn in school. It's not something that you learn in graduate school. And it's really not something that you learn in this environment. When I say this environment, I'm talking about here in America. But when you have those personal relationships doing business in Asia, I think if you take the importance of some of those nuances, it really, really helps you communicate more effectively and develop closer relationships in business and in life. So yeah, that 1996 start as the country manager in Taiwan was really, I would say, transformative, not only for my career, but also for how I live my life, how I treat people, and how I view relationships. All right, so I love talking to you, little buddy, no name yet. This is the first view from the balcony of our new home. You can see it's on a golf course, and right now it is completely empty, but it's clean. And hopefully I'll start shooting some videos as soon as we get moved. All right, love you, little buddy.
Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts,